They're not legally binding, but 134 to 9 is a huge margin. This is a lopsided vote that shows a global rejection of Myanmar's argument. It shows quite clearly the international community believes that the human rights violations against the Rohingya are so important that a vast majority of member states of the UN have voted to condemn Myanmar. It's a demand for accountability, and it's a demand that it's a recognition of the atrocities committed by the Burmese army against the Rohingya. So I think it's very meaningful, even if it's not actually legally binding.
Mm-hmm. And can it put any kind of pressure on Myanmar's authorities? The UN ambassador, right after this resolution, said that this was designed to exert unwanted political pressure and that the situation in Rakhine State remains complicated. Why do they see this situation so complicated?
Well, the situation is so complicated because they're not dedicated to actually doing the things they need to do to solve the problem. The ambassador is saying that this is not meaningful, but he wouldn't be howling so loud if they really thought it didn't matter. This vote is a very painful hit against Myanmar. It shows the isolation of the Myanmar government on the global stage here. The reality is that the situation is only going to improve if Myanmar shows political commitment to change the situation on the ground and improve conditions for the Rohingya there and allow for the Rohingya in Bangladesh to come back with safety, dignity, and international protection.
Mm-hmm. And what is the situation like for the Rohingya at the moment? We know that 900,000 of them is in those camps in Bangladesh. Is there any chance for them to return to their homes?
Not right at this time, because the situation has not improved. There's no access for the international humanitarians. There's no access for international groups to go in and provide monitoring and protection for Rohingya who might want to go back. The Rohingya will not have citizenship if they go back now. They don't have freedom of movement. They still face discrimination on the ground, difficulties to earn livelihoods, to access basic services like health and education services. So there's no real good reason for them to go back at this time. They would be only going back in arm's length of the same military and police forces that inflicted such atrocities on them just 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And Phil, in your opinion, what needs to be done by the international community to improve the lives of these people?
Well, I mean, in the refugee camps, I think we need to see a redoubling of commitment by international donors to provide the resources needed to ensure that the services are provided to Rohingya. But there also then needs to be greater pressure on the Burmese government to demand that ultimately they recognize that there is no alternative but to accept accountability for what was done against the Rohingya and also to change the situation on the ground, meaning returning Rohingya to Myanmar with citizenship, in dignity, and in safety.